Oh boy. Mm. I have to always make sure this thing is even working. Let me see here. It looks like it. Okay, great. So, it's another one of those types of days. Man, I really thought things might get a little bit better, but I can see that the never-ending cycle of just constant disappointment never lets up. So today I had a shift that started at 4, supposed to end at 11:30, but they asked me if I could stay until 12:30, and I ended up staying until 1 in the morning, 2 hours ago. And this meant I had overtime. It also meant that I was very tired. Now, several months back, actually, no, let me go back even further than that. I have this very irritating relative who hogs the washing machine. So when in the past, when I lived with other people, I would always just be able to wash my stuff whenever I felt like it. But because everyone is like just weird and has this thing about preserving water and the rest of the stupid stuff, they tried to do this. I mentioned this last year where they tried to do this thing where they put all the stuff into one big container, like one load, right? And it would rip up the buttons on my shirts, and it was pissing me off because it's like, why can't you just wash this by? So eventually, I just said, you know what? I'll hand wash this. There's no way this type of stuff is going to keep happening if it's done that way. And sure enough, I started to do this, and the very goofy landlord was like, "This is causing rats and roaches." Even though I've never heard of rats or roaches being attracted to wet clothes that are drying outside, but whatever. And this person resolved that they would wash the shirts by themselves. Now, what has happened is that they do this once a week, right? And the day they chose to do this on is one of the days where I don't get back until such a late time of night. So today they called me, and they have no problem whenever they want something from me sending, a text message or two text messages or whatever. They're very good at conveying what they want if you don't answer the phone on them. But they call me, and like they don't make any other attempt to call right after this happens. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of weird, but whatever. I don't really think much about it because they always call me over stuff that I find kind of goofy and not really pay much attention to it. And I get back and I look to see because like usually they'll have the shirts either laid out, whatever. Maybe they'll be um just wherever. Like they'll be somewhere I can identify them either in the machine itself or in the damn like on the bed or whatever. I look in both areas. I don't see them. And then that's when it hits me like, oh my god. So what happened is that a few days ago, one of the few days where I had off, a day where I wish I could have been sleeping in, getting some rest. I had to wake up at 6 in the morning because after getting off at 12:01, right? Because this person wanted some exterminator people to come over, and they told me to clean up, whatever that means. And I just moved a lot of stuff that was like around the floor, whatever. This is a very tiny room I'm in. Um, to like be out of the way, and I actually had some of the like dirty shirts. I would just put them together on the floor like as a pile, and I put them in a bag so that I would like know they're all in this one space. And I put them back in the same area where all the rest of that stuff would be, the rest of the dirty stuff after this happened. And I guess it didn't occur to them to look in the same area, or maybe to think that the stuff in the bag that smells is in the same is the dirty stuff. It's I guess I'm so frustrated because it's like they made this self-imposed rule, right? I will wash your stuff. Um, which, me washing my things up until last year, I never had a problem with doing. I would just take my stuff, put it in the washing machine, and then grab it out the dryer some hours later. But now, because of their bizarre, fixation on not letting me wash my own crap, uh, it created a scenario where I was like dependent on them to do it, but then they also won't do it really for no damn reason. I mean, again, they could have just written something to me. Hey, you know, this is I need you to, tell me where your stuff is. They didn't do that. Telling you people just so I'm very irritated because I got off of this long shift that honestly felt like it would never end. And I thought, okay, I can eat my food, I can go take a shower, I can go to sleep. Maybe I'll stream before I do. But nope, another side mission where now I have a bunch of shirts that are not washed by the person who said they would wash them. And I have to wait until they wash, and that could be until they manually dry, right? That could be a few hours. That could be, even longer depending on it's just annoying, man. It's just really aggravating. And I just it feels like every day there's some new weird thing that pops up. And it almost always happens either on a day when I'm working or a day where I'm not working, where it's like I can't be a normal person that just goes to a job, right? That's just not something I'm allowed to do. I have to have these weird people and things that occur that make it to where I'm not allowed to just rest. I talked about how 300 a month, and then on top of that, 7 or 800 for this stupid house, just zapping away most or damn near all of what you make every month, and how it's so obnoxious when you consider that you're putting in as many hours as they've even allowed you to up to this point, just to like take nothing out of it. um I get one day off, and it feels like it's a day of work minus getting paid, where you have to get up at this hour for this person to come over. They say they're going to be there by noon. You think you can sleep for the rest of the morning. Then they tell you that they're coming in 20 minutes. It's not even 11 o'clock. It drove me insane. By the time we reached the 7, 8 o'clock hour, I crashed. I went right and laid down and closed my eyes. I didn't think I woke up until 1 or 2 in the morning. I passed out. I was tired. Tired of her, tired of this, just sick of it, man. Just really sick of it. I'm serious. I feel like I can't get one day where I can just rest and relax and calm down and not be bothered by something or someone. Like if it's not a work day, and even on some work days they get mad, right? Not the job itself, but like the other people. Oh, you didn't do this. You didn't go get that. Um, I'm just sick of it, honestly. Like I'm just tired of it's such a lack of progression. It reminds me of the strains, pains, and lack of gains. When I came back and I saw that, I said, All you had to do was just wash a handful of shirts. It's like 5, 6, maybe 7, right, all together. That's all you had to do. And they couldn't do that. And they couldn't do it because I hid the stuff so well. They called me one time. I didn't answer because I was working. And then they never called back. They never sent any kind of follow-up message. Just weird. And like what gets me is I already know that if that stuff is because I manually am washing it, right? Like hand washing it. I know that if that stuff is still drying by the time this person gets up in 4 to 7 or 8 hours, um, they're gonna complain. They're gonna say, "Oh my god, da, 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 you didn't, why would you do this? You could have waited." I'm gonna say, "No, listen, I need my stuff." I miss the days where I could just take that. They locked up the back door, but I have this blue bucket, and I would just fill it with the um, detergent and the like the cold water, and dip the stuff in there, and then just hang it to dry in the back. Like that would just be me every day. I would just pour it in there, put it in this room where it's like locked up, no sunlight, can't be bleached or anything or faded, whatever. And ever since then, it's just been this thing where it's like every week they wash stuff one time. You have to hope that they don't find a way to mess up your things by not washing it, or they do like two parts of it, or just something weird, right? And like the problem is that now, because I work and I have a consistent schedule of each Friday, 4 to 12 in the morning, if not later, I can't be here to babysit them when they want to sit here and act stupid. So you know you get screwed by this dumb stuff. I would have taken a shower by now, but I don't have any uh thing to wear. Like I'm just irritated. And like I said, when they want something, they remember to send you a text message. They remember to write something to you. God, you just can't win, honestly. Sometimes you just, no matter what you do, no matter how hard you try, you just can't win. I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, it is really almost 4 in the morning, and I don't, I still like haven't showered, nothing, just nothing to wear. And I don't think my request is bizarre. I don't ask these people to do stuff for me. Like if I had my way, I would be washing all of my own stuff, um, every week. Not on no damn Friday because I work that day, but still, it's like that's why I said I don't know why they they do things like this. They turn it into this, into something that's like about them, right? And then they don't do the thing that they signed themselves up for. So then it's like, why are you even trying to get involved if you're going to screw it up? Man, I tell you. I don't know. It's hard to like not be frustrated when stuff turns out the way that it has. Like again, the most basic of desires. Hey, can you just wash my stuff each week? Nope. I swear, when I got back and I realized what I realized, like I didn't immediately pick up on it. But when I found that out, it's hard to just not get angry with a lot of this stuff, especially when you know that like the person screws you up and they don't care. Mm. This whole thing is just so dumb. Yeah, it was. It's interesting when how nosy people are. Like people who don't even talk to you will just start asking questions about stuff that's none of their business. Like I have this woman at the job. She's very adamant about saying that no one up there is her friend, and then like around like while we're washing stuff together, she's like, "How old are you?" It's like, "Why? You don't? We're not friends. It doesn't matter." Just people are so nosy. I'm not even kidding. I'm just thinking about how if this had happened, like if I knew this was gonna happen and I washed the stuff by hand from 2 this afternoon, and now it would all be dry. It's yeah, this. I tell you, sometimes you just cannot win. Man, I got so happy when I came back from that shift. I said, "Look, I'm tired, but you know what? I did my overtime, and you did what you're supposed to do." And like I swear, it's like you just can't rest. Like it's impossible. You work at this place. You take your long drive back home or back to wherever you call your home, and within a few hours, here comes some new obnoxious thing. Like I'm not kidding. Getting back from a job at 1 or 2 in the morning and having somebody try to wake you up at 6 a.m. to ask you if you can pick somebody up or if you can go get the it's just so stupid and obnoxious, man. Like, God, let the damn person rest. Stuff like this makes me wish I'd rather be dead. At least then I know I'd get some actual sleep. Just so tired of this, man. Every day is the same thing. I might as well not even have a day off. My days is off or days off in name only. It's like, hey, you thought you were gonna get some rest on that one day where you don't have to go to your job? I don't think so. I'm not kidding. It's just nonstop. I'm just looking at that call from that person. Like they called me right at the start of my shift and never called back. Never nothing. Just so we live in an era of NPCs. People do things, and you're like, why did you do this? Why couldn't you just do that? Like it's just weird. There's no laughing about that molecule splitter guy talking about nobody owes you gas money. Get it yourself. Nobody owes you gas money, but You owe them picking up somebody else, and you owe them. I find it hilarious. Nobody owes you anything, but you owe everybody else everything. Okay. Like, people just they don't even think when they write stuff or when they say things either. I know that some guy that I haven't talked to in years like saw one of my videos recently, and he was in some server and um was talking about it, and like he didn't even explain what I was doing wrong. It's just, oh my god, he said this about it. It's like it's stupid. It's just dumb. But I always say that if you think someone is so bad and beneath you and whatever as a content creator, why do you watch them? It doesn't make sense to me. Because what's supposed to happen is that when a person's content is truly terrible and not good and so awful and oh my god, what is this? People stop watching. They're like, hey, this is not fun. This isn't entertaining. This isn't interesting. But there they go. Like I said, there's a whole bunch of people on this site who I don't like the content of, and you don't see me going on their channel. Why is this person making this type of video? Today was such an irritation. I came as I was driving to the job because I had a milkshake this morning. Went over to pick someone else up for somebody. I was like, I'm gonna treat myself. Haha. 3 hours later, I have this energy drink as I'm on the way to the job because I don't feel like I've received enough rest, and the way I felt during that shift kind of leads me to that same conclusion. And man, almost throughout the whole shift, headache, headache, headache. I'm not even trying to be funny. Like my head was really hurting from that. And I had people, why are you wearing sunglasses? It's one of the most obnoxious things where it's like, if you have any variation from what they have, they just assume they just get like really nosy about it. Why are you wearing this? Listen, I don't even say anything. I get most disturbed by the fact that like it's people I don't even talk to that ask me that or that were asking that. Yeah, I don't get how people can assign themselves a role and then just completely fail at it. Like, hey, I'm gonna do this, and then they don't do it, and they're like, what did you expect me to do? It's like the thing you said you would do. My favorite thing about the job is that I usually get two of the same thing when I get there, and as an employee, I have a 50% discount. So like the standard price for two of those together, it's like $28. But in every past instance where the discount was applied, it was knocked down to 13, which I think is a good price. I mean, I could probably get something cheaper at the market, right? That would be as filling because I don't eat both at the same time. I have one when I start the shift and then the other one when I get home, so that I'm like full for most of the next day or whatever. but I said, you know what? I think this is a decent amount right off, whatever. And yesterday I go in there, order the same thing I normally order. And one of the managers comes up to apply the discount. And like I said, all the times in the past, it's been $13 after being, 28 for everybody else. This time it's only 22 with $6 taken off, right? And I'm like, what the? Because it surprises me. I don't expect to see it drop by a smaller amount than it did. And then that's when the manager says to me, your discount only applies for one combo. When I heard that line, I made a solemn pledge that I will never eat at this place again. And I'll say this, I think there's something wrong with the premise that, because a 50% discount should be that 50% off. If I buy three burgers and they're $40, then the discount should cut that by to a third. Um, if I buy four burgers and they're $50, the discount should drop that down to 25. It's crazy to me that we get caught up in this nickel and dime nonsense where you take your own employees, the people who, you need to keep your crappy place working and running, and you tell them, "Oh, you want a discount for working for us?" Well, sure, but it's only going to be by this amount depending on how much you get. That's insane. It's absolutely nuts. And listen, I have no problem switching back to just eating, TV dinners or soup or whatever other thing from the market. I can go back to doing that because it really was no qualm of mine to just eat stuff that I was able to get much cheaper at the grocery store than going up to that place. Like even one burger over there is like $6. I can get three three of these like small TV dinners that are like it's like some chicken strips and some corn and macaroni. I can get three of those for the same price, and I know those will fill me up for the rest of the day if I eat them like the three of them together or two of them together. So I'm just saying that that really disgusted me. I don't plan on eating at that place anymore. Um, I think I'm done with them. Your discount only applies to one combo. I said, man, when the hell did that start? 24 hours ago? I was hoping to go and grab a bottle of water out the fridge, but of course there are none in there. I'm the only person who could spend, what is it, 20 something dollars on like anywhere from 120 to 200 bottles of water per month and not like barely get a quarter of those or even a fifth. I like how that one person was like, water doesn't even cost that much. Like, okay, get it yourself then. Because, if I lived alone and didn't have to do this stupid thing, I would be able to I get water like maybe twice a month at most, right? Like a 40 pack, a 24 pack. Cause I usually just drink two a day at a maximum. But man, like you'll get a case of 40 and they'll drink the whole thing in like 3 days. It's really nuts. And this isn't some house of 10 people. It's like two of them just, and one of them wasted where it's like you'll drink like half of one, right? And then you'll leave it there until it's not cold anymore. Then you go grab another one and drink like a quarter of that until it's not cold anymore. Then it's stupid. It's dumb. But like I said, I live in the Twilight Zone, so I'm not even surprised anymore. That same manager tried to say bye to me when they were when they were leaving. I didn't even say anything. I was just thinking about that robbery in broad daylight. Your discount only applies to one combo. I said, man, get out of my face. It didn't apply to one combo all the way from I started doing that thing of like ordering two, I think at least a month ago. Like it's been at least a full month of like every time you go up there, get two burgers or, whatever, uh two salads, just two of whatever. And they really, no one's ever said that to me. Your discount only applies to one combo. I said, well, this is going to be one vanished customer because I'm not. The only reason I ate there as regularly as I did is because of the discount. If it weren't there, I wouldn't even waste my time with them. Hell, I look like giving you guys $20 for. So forget it. So I said some of these companies and the people that run them, they have gone absolutely insane. Like they may collect a steady paycheck, they may dress nice, but they're only one policy away from being in the loony bin. And it's like they treat their own employees like this, like your employee that comes to work every day, every time you ask them to, they're on time every time. And all they want is to get, what is it, $7, $8 off of their order when they come and put money back into your company when they order food that they could probably honestly get more of from other places. But nope, have to try to screw them out of $9. When I saw that thing pop up, I said, "Okay, we can play it. We can play this game." Because I've boycotted businesses with outrageous prices before. Like if there's a price I think is really crazy, I'll just stop getting it. Um, the same thing happened when I was going to Chick-fil-A, and they used to have shakes for $2. They're a little like shake that's about this big, maybe a little bit bigger. It's like a small, and I liked it. Every Saturday, I would go up there, get a burger, some fries, and the shake. And man, I'll never forget the first time. This was last year. I went to Chick Fil A and I saw that their shake was like $5 now, $4. Like it doubled in price, and it was the same size that it had been when it was $2. And I said, okay, I'm never buying a shake from here again. I even said I can go to McDonald's and get a shake, right? The same item. Yeah, we can debate the merits of taste is subjective. The point is, I can get the same item but larger for a cheaper price. Like, why would I get a small shake from Chick-fil-A when I can get a large shake from McDonald's for the same price? It just doesn't make any sense. I like the taste of, okay, that's cool, but as a consumer who is not the most financially well off, um, it doesn't make sense to me that I would keep getting this thing that I think is just not worth the price it's being put towards. I said, hell, that small shake is only $2 off from a large cup of coffee at Starbucks. And everybody knows their prices are insane. That's what I always thought was funny about my friend. He was like the same person who was talking about how dumb people were for buying salads for $12 and buying coffee for like $6 or $7, but then he'll go and buy a burger from Fat Burger for like $16. Because the same logic applies that if other people are dumb for buying the stuff that they can just make, you could say he's dumb for not just getting a patty or whatever other ingredients are for a burger and just making it himself. And let it be known, these companies, they're always looking for a way to squeeze some pennies out of people. It's not even funny. And you could be their own employee and they'll be like, "Doubt you're getting those $9 off? I don't think so." Man, what a way to start off the month, I tell you. Some long shift that felt like it would never end. And then after it finally ends and you get to, go home seemingly to relax, you find out that the person that's supposed to wash all the stuff doesn't wash it. So you have to like wash it by hand. Just lovely. And then when you wash it by hand, it's going to take like several hours at a minimum to even get the stuff to be dry. I'm telling you, man, people just. I remember when I was in 12th grade, I had this shirt that I think I forgot to wash it the night before. Something happened where I ended up like going to school wearing a wet shirt, and I was like astonished that by the time the day was like halfway over, it already pretty much dried. Because I never had to do that before. It's like, oh, this is my only uniform shirt. I guess I have to dry it. Oh boy, I tell you. Oh no, I might try to pack this in after an hour. I'll probably go and look and see how dry the shirts are, and then determine from that. Problem is, I still have to go and shower. Oh, and it's harder to will myself to do that the more tired I get, right? Because just the like running out of stamina. Oh. But yeah, it's hard to deal with a lot of the day to day drama that happens over here. It does seem like every day there's a new cycle of just problems. Like, oh yeah, thought you were gonna. Hey, it's your day off. Thought you were gonna just come home, put your shirt. Ha 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 ha. Never easy. God, I have so many scripts I write. I had this one script for a book where it was like a not script, it's a prompt where the prompt is always what you write before actually doing the story, whether it's a book, a movie, whatever. And I remember when I was writing out the prompt or the synopsis, it was just like this plot where you see the downfall of someone, right? The losses, the times where it seems like things are going to get better and then it just gets worse. Um, and how it's all narrated by this friend character who kind of just observes things and says, maybe he could have done this better, but still, it's like he's trying. And I thought it would be because a lot of times when people have that depressive state, that like deterioration, it's not just one bad day. It's usually something that just builds on itself for years until you finally say, "Look, I just can't take it anymore." And that was what I really wanted to show, that the protagonist would have this deterioration where you could just, from the first chapter get a glimpse of it, like the inciting thing where it's like, I don't think I'll come back from this. And then the second one is like furthering that nail down into the wound. The third one where it's like, oh yeah, but this is kind of turning around, right? That little ray of hope. Fourth one, more of the ray of hope. Fifth one, okay, not really that good, but still trying. Sixth one, maybe not that good either. Seventh one, hey, building up again, building up again. Eighth one, building up again, building up again. Ninth one, more deterioration. Tenth one, just it just goes up and until it just starts like piling. Like, oh, this person just died, and then this person had this happen, and this person, abandoned me, and it's just again, everything starts crumbling. Just all of it deteriorates until he finally is like, I just can't take this anymore. I thought that would be an interesting approach because I was writing some of the first chapter. What I started to do, and I've never done this when writing a chapter for a book before, was do like pieces of it, like the opening, some middle portion, some other later portion, then the final section of it. It's just hard to get things to flow from start to finish because like I always want to set everything up as early as possible, but sometimes you do need to just have some breathing room. You can't do everything in one chapter or one or two rather. So the more time you give this stuff, the more likely it'll be that you'll be able to kind of like let it breathe and then come back to it and have it just be another whiplash on that person. I think it'll probably be like 16 chapters. It wouldn't be that long, and the chapters themselves probably be like 5 pages, 6 pages, 7 pages, 8 pages. Not a really long book. It's just the deterioration, and I think it can be done in like 200 pages, 300 pages, which I don't consider to be that long personally, but that's just me. I don't know. I haven't written a book in so long. It feels weird to get back into the swing of things. Because as I said before, people don't read, and that's why I always like approach it with, okay, maybe I can read this aloud, do a video with it, still get something out of it in case people don't want to just sit there and manually read it themselves. I'm not kidding. It's easier to get people to enlist for the military than to read a book. It's really sad. We are in an anti-literature era. I'm not even trying to be funny. It really disappoints me that people are the way they are. Mm. Yeah, I was really liking, I guess, one of the relationships in there where you have this uh female character that had a almost kind of like a similar dynamic with one of the deceased characters. Kind of like a father figure to her, and that kind of draws her and the protagonist together, where they're both mourning his passing, and uh, the protagonist, while attracted to her physically and certain aspects of her, does not like her belief system, which he thinks is very cynical and like screwed up, and it's one of like things that drove them to have the wedge that they do. Um, but I liked exploring, how close can these two people who are very different from each other, uh, you know, become if under the right circumstances. Because I do think there is something to be said about opposites attracting. Um, but you also have to like focus on what things they have in common, because there are several similarities, I would say. But the idea with her was that they were supposed to like build up this kind of rekindled friendship, and I think either she would float the possibility of it becoming a romance, or maybe like try to get too close to him, and that's when he's like, "Hey, look, I still can't get behind this stuff that you're doing." And then she feels as if he has just used her, and she threatens to go away, and he begs her not to, and that's when you get another like deterioration where again it's like more building up of something just to see it crash down, because all part of this series of events that just completely disenfranchises the lead to the point of no return. Boy, no, I'm working on I did this poll for the documentary stuff, and people were mostly wanting Johnson Part 7. I mean, I don't. So, what's interesting about finally being in the presidency section is that I'm trying to see if I can use a mixture of the book sources that I have. I have, 3 books that cover his presidency, and some print sources, New York Times, Washington Post, places like that, because I really want to, like, yeah, I love Caro's books as much, but they are about to like run out of material, be something I can't use anymore. But I really want to kind of like put things in order in a sense, like, hey, he signed this and it was important for this reason, etc., etc. And there's a good chance that part 7, if it covers the whole year of 1964, could end up being 2 hours long, because it's like you start with the aftermath of the assassination, right? The creation of the Warren Commission, um, let us continue, the various things that come out of that. And then you have the Clean Air Act in December. You have obviously the Civil Rights Act over the summer, and then it's a presidential election that kind of is like the backdrop of it all. And I'm going to see if I can sprinkle in some stuff about Vietnam as well. But the point is that there's a lot that happens in that first year to where I'm almost worried it wouldn't even it like at a minimum I think it'd be an hour and a half. It's a very eventful first 12 months of that presidency. And again, it's like you have to throw in Goldwater because he's never appeared. I just realized in the LBJ documentary up to this point. So you have to like mention how senator from Arizona wanted to run against Kennedy. Da, da, da. Yeah, it's going to be a pretty eventful video, I can tell you that. And then we get to 65, which will presumably be in part 8. We'll have Medicare and Medicaid and the Voting Rights Act. Don't think it'll be as long, but who knows? Again, I'm just going off stuff I remember. Like we'll obviously talk about important historical events like Bloody Sunday and whatnot, but I'm just saying that these are things I would want. I want it to be in order, and I'll try to have timestamps because I want it to feel like you're in that era, you're seeing it unfold, right? Because the problem with a lot of documentaries is that they, especially like the Vietnam ones, they just kind of act like that was it. Like, no, you have the attempt at, however successful or not it was, solving America's social ills while having this conflict that you didn't start but you want to see finished, just brewing and brewing and brewing in the background. Mm. Oh boy. Yeah, I was hoping to start on Nixon, but we've run into a few problems with people locking up doors and making it to where I can't access my own. It's annoying, but I'll definitely try to do him as well. Um, I just was trying very hard to make sure that we got some more progression with the Johnson one because we hadn't had a new part in 4 months, and I couldn't take it. So yeah, part 7. I'm gonna try to have it out by the beginning of next month. Don't quote me on that, because again, I'm working 5 days a week, and I just don't know if I'll be able to write the whole script and do everything else for it in 30 days or less. So hopefully, again, I'd love to have it come out before the 60th anniversary of the Civil Rights Act, but that's not up to me. It's just a matter of I'm trying as much as I can. I want to make sure it's good, or at least up to my standards. So That's that. Oh boy, my headache has returned. It's like you thought that shirt thing was too much. Guess again. I'm trying to remember what the name of the Gerald Ford book is. The one that biographer wrote on him. I think it was last year. It's like I think it was Richard Norton Smith or something. I heard some good things about that book, and I always said Ford would be the easiest president to do a documentary on, because, like out of any of the ones from the last 50 years, because he has this time in the House that's really not that consequential. He's not really an ambitious man, um, and then he gets thrust into this position that he was not elected to, and it shows. Mm-mm-mm. I already said before, the problem with a lot of these videos is just trying to make stuff. No, I'm just thinking of what else I can do with writing things. Because, like I said, this is something I'm very passionate about doing. It's something I do want to do. It's just I have to feel that people want to watch it, and I have to feel motivated to make it. And those two things usually, if they're in sync, I can do it. Like I didn't know what to expect when I put out Johnson Part One, just whatever, and then I did Part Two. I really quickly, because I was like, yeah, we actually made one of these. Wow. And then Part Three came out some weeks later, and I kind of slowed down because I started working about a month or so later, and then you got Part Four, and then we had FDR Part One, uh, which really disappointed me, and then you know Johnson Part Five and Six these last 2 months. So it's all coming together. Like I said, when you take one of these and you focus on them, you can make stuff move. If you take one and say, I will do this one, and that's it, or at least that's it for right now, you can see progress. I'm not even trying to be funny. Because sometimes I do get ahead of myself. Let me do this one and that one and that one. But it's important to just stay calm, focus on one or two, maybe three, maybe four, and then that's it. This one person said I should do part one of everybody, do part one of Nixon, then part one of Ford, then part one of Carter, then part one of Reagan, then part one of H.W. Bush, and then Clinton part one, and Bush part one, Obama part one, Trump. I said I wouldn't do that simply because, well, I mean, the level of difficulty for each one varies. Like, it wouldn't be that hard to do, you know, all the ones up to Clinton probably, but then when you get to Bush, the younger one, um, it's harder to actually do it And what's a good way of putting it? It's because his time as governor, like he wrote a biography that I didn't think was that, like another biography I didn't think was that good. But he also, um, to be able to cover his time as Texas governor, I'd have to use print sources because there's not really an accredited book that goes into that time. Most of the works about him are for his presidency, which again is whatever, but it's not helpful when you're trying to, you know, talk about the man's whole life. Oh boy. But yeah, I think that this stuff can go in a good direction. I just sometimes I'm just tired, honestly. Like that's I'm just telling the truth. Sometimes I get really tired. Sometimes I want to just go home and lay down. Man, boy, I tell you. Uh, should do a ranking of these. Uh, in terms of like which ones would I'd be most interested in doing. I just hope this stuff is dry, or at least a little bit drier than it was an hour ago, because really threw a curveball at me with that one. Like I don't understand how people can be completely incapable of just basic stuff. Like, okay, you say you're gonna wash these things, then do it. Don't they're in the bag, I didn't see them. And man, I already know whenever we get in our thing tomorrow, they're gonna try and act like I did something wrong, and they just can't be accountable for anything they do. It's always the other person's fault. Even if you left the stuff in the same exact area and you only put it in the bag because they told you to, move it out the way or whatever. It's just, oh God, you just can't win with some people. I tell you. I don't even know what to say anymore. I'm just so out of it right now. Oh boy, 8.5 hours, and what can I say? When you get here, you might as well be signing it, clocking in for another job because stuff never gets any better. I tell you. It's like, hey, did you enjoy your first shift? Get ready for your next one. Your new side mission, side quest. It never stops. So my favorite part is like getting off that late, and then you have someone that wakes you up that early, and then their excuse is, well, you walk around in the morning and that wakes me up. It's like, no, I do not. So I said they cannot be accountable for anything they do. It's very telling and self evident. You wake me up, so I'm gonna wake you up to tell you to go do this thing that I can do myself and not mess up your sleep. No, that other day was awful. I When I came back, I just crashed. It was Thursday, like 7 p.m., 8 p.m. I went just not went laid right down that pillow and went to sleep. I don't think I woke up until the next day. I was finished. And we already know what time it's going to be tomorrow, or today rather. I, I didn't know where it was, so I. God. Them and their 900 excuses. They can talk their way out of being accountable for anything. You let them tell it, I hit this stuff 500 miles away. Like it's literally in the same place it always is, just in a bag, and like they couldn't figure out that was it apparently. And this is just going to be a recurring problem every Friday because now that I'm not here all day. Uh, they're going to keep like finding ways to not do the thing that they're supposed to, that according to them they're supposed to do. Mm. I tell you, these people just they live and breathe for nonsense. Like I'm getting off today, last night rather, or I guess this morning I should say, yeah, like a few hours ago, and I decided to go and walk to, I think it was 7-Eleven, and get something from in there. And this one person that I get off with, they roll their window down in their car because they park behind me, and they're like, "Where are you going?" And I said, "Don't worry about it." So I said, "People just nosy, man. They always are trying to figure something out, or just like, come on." That's why I said you just can't. I just don't feel comfortable with stuff like that because it's like, why do you care? Why do you want to know? I had one of them that they asked me what my hobbies were. I was more receptive to her because she's been, I'd say, pretty consistently nice to me, but I still kind of kept it at an arm's length. I just answered in generalities. I was like, "Oh yeah, I like to write, I like to draw." Because, like I said, I don't trust any of them after that thing that other one did. She eroded my confidence in that whole group. I said, "Hey, I let one of you trick me into thinking you cared or were interested in me. Never again. That was a one time thing." People sell books for 40 and 50, and it's not even like signed copy. Oh God, just crazy. What I say about the increase in price for the discount, robbery in broad daylight, they have that for books too. It's like you guys are out of your minds if you think I'm paying this much for just a regular old hardcover book. No, sorry. They cost more than new books. Like I still can't find Tulsi's book anywhere for less than 20 something dollars. I think it'll be much cheaper come next year. But still, it's like right now, it's a hot item, bestseller with her and her BS. Well, anyways, none of our lead characters are showing up. Um, I am very tired, so I'm gonna wrap this up early. Thanks for showing up, and have a good rest of your day. Hopefully, my stuff will dry, and when this person wakes up, they won't try to like get offended that I washed my own things after they didn't and left me with nothing to what to use. So I don't know. Just over here, I said before, everything is backwards. Up is down, down is up. People who mess things up try to pretend that they have like some kind of self righteous streak going on. I'm offended because you said this about me. It's like, but it's true. You messed up. It's simple. Like whatever. So yeah, thanks for showing up. Have a good rest of your weekend. Uh, I hope I can get some damn sleep.